but I think these are very, very special. So we want to give a shout out to our boys soccer team for making it into the semifinals and for playing really, really hard. And just we are just extremely proud of them and their coaches. We also want to congratulate our girls soccer team for winning the state championship. We are so thrilled, so proud of our girls, so proud of their coaches, their parents, and everyone that has worked with them. This is history in West Point. The first time that our girls have won a state championship, so we are just through the moon. We will acknowledge them at a future meeting, and we are also working with the town on some acknowledgments as well. And so all of those things will come, and we're working on a press release to put out to our school community. If you have not seen the Tidewater Review today, there's an article in the Tidewater Review. Thanks to Mr. Agnew for his help and support with that. And so we will just continue to celebrate this for a long time to come. My next recognitions are somewhat bittersweet, but I think at some point I have told all of them that we expect them back to do something for us. I even offered one a job, well, both two out for a job tonight. And so we have a couple of retirees that we want to recognize. So we will start with Kelly Cade. We don't know who is going to get up early in the morning to make sure that all of the babies are fed.
That's right.
The way that you have done it for many, many years. You have worked hard feeding our students, making sure they have what they need every day on that breakfast card, making sure they have in the lunch line, and we are grateful for all of your work and service to Western Public Schools. You are always a supporter and a champion, and you tell me you have my back, and I appreciate everything that you do. And so we want to say enjoy your retirement.
Yes.
But the door is always open. Next, we have Mr. Nelson Harris. For the last 31 years, Mr. Harris has spent with our elementary students and then transitioned to the middle school, high school with our secondary students. He has had high expectations for students. Still today, you talk about, you run into people that say he was their second grade teacher or their fifth grade teacher. They always remember Mr. Harris. And so we are excited for you and this new chapter. We all work hard every day to get where you're going to be in retirement. But we know that we appreciate all that you have done, all of your service to Western Public Schools. And to you, the door is always open. So you can come by and visit, you can come by and substitute, anything, We'll put you to work.
Okay.
All right? All right, congratulations. And last but not least, Miss Wright. I did not take Spanish in school. I took French. But from what I've heard, if you are looking for a stellar Spanish teacher, a stellar Spanish teacher, this lady right here is that person. She has planned numerous trips for students to give them the experiences to travel the world. She has had high expectations for their learning. And she does it all with a smile on her face every day. Even when some students might not be in the you all know how that goes. She still would come to work with a smile on her face, ready for the next challenge and ready to make sure that students have what they need. I remember being in a meeting one time, and the parent said to me, the teacher that was always willing to stay after school and to tutor their child and to give their child extra help was Ms. Wright. And those things go a long way. And so we appreciate what you do, what you have done. And I told you the door is always open here in West Point. We will always be your school family. So congratulations on your time. Your boxes are here.
That's what I'm here for.
And so, those are all of my recognitions.
Well, thank you. Yeah, definitely good bookends, right? We started with soccer and history being made, and 3 retirees that have contributed tremendously to our school and over the years. We certainly thank you all for what you've done for our community, right, in our schools. And I think I always tell when we have new teachers that, the culture changes every time we get a new student or a new teacher. And, that happened with the 3 of you, and it's going to be difficult to replace that. But we appreciate everything you've done for us. Hope that you will still be a familiar face. You won't go too far, but enjoy the next part of your journey. You're not retiring.
Former student.
Yeah.
That was one of the 5th grade ones he was talking about.
But thank y'all.
Indeed. Yes, congratulations.
Okay, presentations on delegations. None. Might be a quick meeting. Items under study. 4526. Lined up. Y'all take care.
Thank you.
Don't be a stranger.
Good evening. So I had the pleasure of reviewing the executive summary of some of the updates that have been made to the student code of conduct for the upcoming school year, which you have under study. I'm just going to briefly go through each one of them. Some of them don't really need explanation. For example, the first one, we've updated the staff, waiting on the new SRO name, and that will be updated as soon as that's in. On page 7, which a great change I think is we've expanded the purpose of the document. It's not, and it previously had more information in it, but I think a better explanation was due. It has discipline information, but it also serves as kind of a repository of a lot of good information. The FERPA notifications are in there. You'll see later where child find has been added. So it's not just a disciplinary overview, but for parents, it really is becoming a place where they can find much more information and help. So that statement was broadened to reflect that in bullet number 1. On page 12, looking at school tardies, which is a target for our school next year, we added at the end that a parent conference may be held, especially in our younger grades. Sometimes the problem is not the student, it's the parent. And it's hard to hold a 7th grader responsible for their school tardy when it's their parent. So we've added that piece in there to make it a little bit more clear that we might be calling the parent to talk about getting to school on time. Page 15 is another change. Let me get to that page correctly. So when we went through this year, we inserted the actual policy statement at the top to make sure that what's in the student code of conduct matches and is aligned with the policy manual as well. And so that's really helpful. That's happened, and I think in one other place, but just to make sure that our conduct book aligns accurately with what's written in school policy. So you will see that introductory paragraph is a copy from policy GEA. The next one on page 16, of course, our cell phone policy changed from last year, thanks to the state of Virginia. So that policy has been updated to reflect the state standard for the cell phone policy. Page 19, when we get into the actual disciplinary levels, we added some level 2 verbiage there because parents and teachers alike, this is a public document, you know, they we do encourage parents and students to review this. And so some of the things that we added at level 2 as possibilities are a restorative conference, whether that be between students, a student and a teacher. That's where we would insert that, and also functional behavior assessment. And typically we use functional behavior assessments with students with disabilities, but we can conduct a functional behavior assessment on any student who's struggling with behavior. So we wanted to make sure that was in there, that parents see that that's kind of part of our normal practice and not something that we just pulled out of a hat somewhere. Page 20. Again, here, as we're expanding some of the things that we're doing, we wanted to make sure it was clear to parents and to students. Under other outcomes may include, it's at the top of that page. We added some things here like creation of a safety plan. We included school board policy references there, referrals to the school counselor, the initiation of the threat assessment process. That statement was just not really reflecting everything that we do and that is an option to us. So we wanted, again, to make sure we were transparent with parents and with students, some of the options and outcomes that are available. Page 22. So there we're into the matrix, so to speak, of what an offense is and then where it starts. And one of the things we ran to at the middle high school was for stealing something that was a level 1, which we think is totally appropriate for an elementary level. You're teaching students, they need to learn. But by the time you get in 7th and 8th grade, if you steal a cookie, you know what you're doing. And so we shifted that for secondary only to start at a level 2. We felt that that was more appropriate for older students. And then pages 33 and 34 are really your other biggest changes. As I mentioned before, we inserted information about the child find process. Again, to create this document is becoming very much just a place where you can see not just our discipline, but other policies and procedures, definitions, things that parents and students can reference for clarity and for transparency. I don't think parents realize that there's so much in here already, but hence the reason for adding that statement at the beginning, for expanding that statement. So, do you have any questions or comments on those changes referenced?
And I think we can communicate to families. We can send out a communication to families to let them know that there is additional information in the code of conduct, not just discipline information. So I think we can do that as a division, so all families know.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Next up are crisis plans. Walker.
Good evening. I have the opportunity to share with you our annual kind of review and revisions to our division crisis plan. But before I did that, I kind of want to just do a brief update on some of the safety things that we've been working on this summer. And that started back in June 2nd. I had the opportunity to attend a training at William High School that was more so on crisis management development, but also spent a lot of time on reunification, which is a big emphasis from the DCJS this year. A lot of the surveys that came back from divisions showed that divisions were looking for some guidance when it came to reunification after a crisis, and really wanting to kind of get some guidance on how to develop and to carry out that process. And so it's definitely going to be a goal of ours to take advantage of all the opportunities they have this summer. So I participated in June 2nd, Train the Trainer. There's a training June 26th, and then we also have the opportunity, we're taking a team to the school safety forum in July, where there will be a focus on the reunification process along with other components. And so that was one focus that we have for this summer. We also had the opportunity on June 5th, Mr. Leach and myself have been working closely with Chief Sawyer and Chief Cheatham to put together a tabletop exercise where we all came together to work through a crisis, where we had the opportunity to have our school admin team, our division admin team, the police department, SROs, fire EMS. We had town, the town representative with emergency management from Mr. Edwards. We actually had a sheriff from a different precinct from Poquoson. We had school safety personnel from a different division to come in and evaluate our process and give us some feedback so that we could kind of see where we're really strong and where can we maybe get better, or maybe we can tighten up some things. And what was really great about all of that with that exercise was the opportunity to work together. We all have our plans, we all have it in writing, but to sit down and really talk it out and how we would respond to a crisis, and then not only seeing how we would respond as a school, but how the police department would then respond with us, how we would unify in a unified command center if we needed to work together in that capacity. It brought a lot to light and allowed us to really just see how supported we are, and really showed where there are a lot of strengths that we have, and we're in a really good place. But that partnership that we have really showed through in that exercise, and we're looking forward to just continuing that, different scenarios each time. Definitely working through reunification once we get some more of that information. And so it was just a start of something that we want to continue with that partnership. And so I just wanted to highlight that. And that took place on June 5th at the high school. And then I think, I highlight all my highlights for school safety for the summer and the things that we're working towards. And now I'm just going to review a little bit about the emergency management plan for our division. And so this year, DCJS rolled out a new template. If you've reviewed the plan before in the past, it has a lot of our information. It's a ton of information that goes over in detail how we would respond to certain crises. Now, with DCJS's new template, it allows us to organize each component for what you would do before a crisis, during a crisis, and after. And it really allows us to organize that document so that we can find things quickly, we can reference it quickly, but really it's not too hard going to find that checklist when we know it's going to be what we're looking for during a crisis, or what are we going to do to prep and prepare before a crisis were to occur. And so some of the key revisions, obviously other than the template, we did every year we update personnel. So people who come and go, we have to replace their names, contact information, what their roles are within the safety teams and the crisis teams. We also, based on Code of Virginia, had to add 2 drills to our drill schedule this year for cardiac emergency response. That is effective July 1st. We have to have 2 drills each year that would practice our plan for cardiac emergency response. And with that comes us having an opportunity to review our cardiac plan and implement a new plan that's a little bit more detailed. We have a plan through our EAP for athletics, how April or a nurse or any medic would respond to our student athlete. And we've kind of taken components of that we're working on, but right now we're currently working with our school nurse and April to develop a more specific plan for the school day. And that will be something, our goal with the summer schedules like it is, our goal is to have that tightened up and implemented before the school year starts. And then another focus area from DCJS with a lot of the training is on incident command systems. And so I've heard this before, but not really understanding the full scope of that. And it's things that we're already doing, but it's really a structure on how we respond to incidents. So from a small incident to a large incident, we should always be responding with your incident commander, the person who's the first there. So for example, we have a medical emergency and we have a nurse on site. That nurse is now the incident commander. They're taking charge of that incident, but being able to know how to disseminate information to people, so to an administrator who can then get to certain people, whether it's to call 911, make sure they know where the AED is to get it delivered, to respond more effectively and efficiently. And so it's something that we're already doing, but the DCJS is really hammering home that structure and that we practice that structure and how we would respond in an incident. And so our start to this is we are going to provide, have all of our admin, division, and school-based participate in the free FEMA training, which is on incident command and what that looks like. And so we will participate in that this year to really be more familiar with incident command. And of course, it goes from managing a small incident to a large-scale incident to then if you had to go into a unified command where you're working with agencies as well. So so those are all the updates that we have in the plan. Anything that are significantly new to the plan. And obviously, just as like I say every year, the plan is a living document. I know that at the high school and elementary school, they review the plan after an incident or medical emergency, we're always debriefing and then looking at things and making adjustments as we go. So we will always be making adjustments to the plan as we feel is needed throughout the year. And also, it is also available here in the school board office. We have a copy here, obviously, for the sensitivity of the document. It stays here housed in the division. But if you would like to review that, obviously just reach out, set the time, and we can have that available for you to review. You have any questions?
How does the cardiac emergency response drill work? The whole school, like, I know tornado drills and lockdown drills and fire drills and everybody does it, but how do you do that?
Yeah, I think the drill won't be school-wide. I think it'll
Okay.
be more specific for whoever we identify as that team and how
Okay,
they respond.
That's
in
what I
a
was
cardiac
assuming, but
emergency.
yeah.
And I think and those drills are kind of spelled out a little. We've had quite a bit of training. We've had some people attending some trainings, so we're still learning too.
Okay,
There's a lot of people kind of scratching their head about what that looks like,
right.
but working with agencies and stuff to kind of get more specifics, and then working with our nurses to kind of develop. And we already have a plan, right? We already have a way that we would respond to a cardiac emergency. It's just now developing a drill that would practice that and working with that team.
We have the AEDs, like 2 in the school.
Yes, and then portables with athletics and PE department.
Gotcha. I guess, was that with the new weight room building going out, would one be there as well?
Yes,
we want to put one in
and
It's
with
a
it.
little closer.
And with a lot of the plans, we will have to talk about, that will be part of our plan. It's going to be talking about locations of AEDs and making sure that an AED is within a certain time frame or distance of any emergency that potentially could happen, right? And so those are things that we have to evaluate and then determine where we might need other AEDs. Fortunately, we have quite a few portables that we can kind of have in different locations during activities. But I do think it's something that we're going to, while we're developing this plan, we're going to review and kind of see where we have AEDs and where could we add a few more. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. All right, action items. First, expenditures and revenue. Motion to consider approving our expenditures and receive our revenue reports.
So moved.
Motion, we have a second.
Second.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the motion carries. Likewise, we have our cafeteria expenditures. Do I have a motion to approve those?
So moved.
Motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye. All that opposed, that motion carries. Do I have a motion to approve our personnel recommendations?
So moved.
Motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye. All that opposed, motion carries. Got a couple of donations here. Do I have a motion to approve?
And just making sure everyone did see that the donation report was updated.
Oh, so it's 1, 2?
No, I think it originally was one, but just make sure everybody saw that there.
Oh, I saw it too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
had the piano.
Yeah.
It's a nice donation.
Absolutely.
It's pretty cool. There are concerts in the lobby.
Okay, so do we have a motion to approve the donations?
So moved.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Tuition students, we have a motion to approve tuition renewals for the 25-26 school year.
So moved.
Motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Second. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye. All opposed, that motion carries. And our initial student tuition applicants, do I have a motion to approve those for the 25-26 school year?
So moved.
Motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor, please say aye. All opposed, the motion carries. That's all the action. Information, Dr. Fraser, anything you want to call out?
So you have the information items that are in your packet, but I do want to share one other thing for information. As you all know, that we have students that attend private day schools, so those special education schools that are outside of the division. And with the funding for those, CSA and the county pay for those students to attend those schools. There's at no cost to the school division. We provide the transportation, but that's paid through CSA and the county. With the change in the law, there's now a 5% cap as to how much CSA can pay. And so the school division will now be charged with paying any additional funds. And so we have one school that is above the 5% cap, and so the division will need to pay the additional funds for 3 students who go to school. And so total, we're looking at about $16,000 for the 3 students to attend. $16,000 total for the year. And it is a year-round program for students with autism.
Any reason why any justification why the cap, 5% cap?
Because private aid schools have been, the cost is escalating. It's very expensive.
Supply demand.
And so the goal was to try to get schools to keep their rates low. But as schools are trying to retain teachers, as they're trying to retain high quality programs, not everyone can keep their cost lower. And so one of the better schools that provides services for students with autism is over that 5% cap, and we get 3 students that attend that school. But that is all I have for information.
All right. For the future agenda, these will be next month.
These will be next month. Ms. Britt will do our accountability update. The board would approve this code of conduct. You'll accept the crisis plan, and we'll have a spring athletics opening.
All right. Anything else? We are adjourned. Thank y'all.
I do want to thank Kim for filling in